Right, in this series of videos we're going to have a go at making the classic 1980s retro game Breakout. I think the Americans call it Brick Breaker, something like that. But I'm gonna show you something now. I'm gonna show you the game. Now, what I'm going to do is I've gone to Google Images here, and I've just searched for Atari Breakout, and this is going to show some screenshots of what the game looks like. And as soon as you see it, you go, oh yeah, I recognise that. But watch what happens. It's kind of exciting. It's a little Easter egg that Google have done. So that's the game, and oh, the images have gone, and look at that, fantastic. I'm actually playing the game. Now it might be a bit laggy, because I'm just going to turn the sound off. I've got Bink Bonk, something will show you how to do sound in this one as well. But you get the idea of the game. It's a bat, it's a ball, and as you go up, and I'll try and do it, the ball gets a little bit quicker. Oh dear. And then the whole object, I'm going to deliberately, oh, I was trying to miss there. I'm going to deliberately try and miss a few now. Quick, keep away from me. And what you have is you have 5 lives, and eventually, if you manage to I think it's 5 lives, but if you eventually manage to avoid hitting the ball, you should get a message, I think it must be on the next one, that looks a bit like that. So there we go. Obviously we're not going to be able to share our score in the game that we've made, but you can see where we're going to go. It's a paddle, it's a ball, it's some coloured bricks, the ball moves at different speeds, and you keep a score whilst you're playing the game. That's what we're going to create, and we should be able to create something pretty nifty and looking like that. Now, let's go back to Scratch itself. Now, I'm going to assume that you guys are starting completely from scratch. Pardon the pun, I believe the expression is. So I'm going to kind of walk you through things kind of slowly to start with, and you may find that the time I'm going to tell you what I would like you to do and the thing I'm going to go through, and when I explain what I want you to do in the moment, which in fact is remove the cat and change the background to being black, then if you know how to do that, you can go and do that already. If this is your first time using Scratch, then stay with me, I'll go through some of the basics. So when you boot up Scratch, and I'm assuming that you've logged in and got here, you're faced with something that looks like what we have in front of us here. And ultimately, there are 2 objects. There are 2, call them objects, we call them things. There are 2 things here. You're probably thinking, no, there's a cat. Well, there is a cat indeed, but there is also what we call the stage, which sits in the background. And you can see here, I've got stage, and it says 1 backdrop, and I have sprite 1, which is the cat. Now I'll come on to explain what we mean by sprites, probably in the next video. What I'd like to do at this moment in time is to get rid of the cat, because in the game of Breakout there are no cats. Although you could make a ball being a cat if you really wanted to, but I think the RSPCA would get in contact with you for throwing cats at brick walls. Anyway, let's get rid of the cat. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to right click my mouse and select delete. Weird thing, by the way, sometimes when in Scratch I find if you right click down it doesn't work, but then if you right click up here it does work. And it doesn't really matter which option that you choose, it's just deleting it. But sometimes if you find that the right click delete doesn't work for you, then if it's not working there, then head down to here and look, it's not working from, oh it did there. That's weird. I clicked my right mouse 3 times. Probably because it's on the internet, maybe there's a slight delay. I don't know. We're not going into that. We're going to delete the cat. Bye bye cat. He's gone. So I'm left with a background. And what I'm now going to do is show you sort of a couple of different ways in which we could colour this background in. And I'm going to leave you free to choose what you want to do. At the end of this video, all you're going to do is make yourself a colour background. Alright? So, how do we change this background? Well, first of all, we want to start up here. Now, scripts is going to be the main part of what we do in these videos, but we're a little bit early for that one. We want to look at the backdrop, and you can see when you click on it, you recognize, well, do you recognize it? This white area, I trust you, trust me even, is this area over here? And I think the first thing we'll do is illustrate that by looking at these tools. Look, they're just the sort of tools used in Microsoft Paint. I'm fairly confident that you guys don't need explaining this. Here's a paint bucket. By default, I've got my left mouse button and right mouse button here, and it's filled in black, which is nice. So if I left mouse click, it turns black, and you can see that it's turned black over there. So if I look back at breakout that we had here, and I just quickly play again, and I'm going to turn that sound. There we go. I've got more of a grey background, but I've got a solid colour background. So if you want black, if you want grey, fine. If you want to choose your own colour from using the little palette thingy down here and going on, we'll have that sort of colour grey there, fine. And then we'll fill that, and we've got a grey. Fine. If you want to go for a picture type background, then in fact actually what you can do is you can choose a backdrop from the library. Let's have a quick look at that. It might be a little bit laggy because I'm using the internet and my connection at home is not too good. In fact, that was pretty good. And you can see there are lots of different backdrops that we could use. You might, for example, want to use stars and set it in space. How fantastic is that? Or, back to the library, you might decide, well actually, I want something with a brick wall. So maybe something like brick wall 2. And we get something that looks a bit like this. I personally think playing the game that might serve to confuse a bit. I don't know. Experiment with it. See what you like. In fact, why don't you just have all three and then you can flip between them? Can we move them? Look at that, we can do. Wow, how exciting. Anyway. Oh, excuse me, how rude. I've just been for dinner at the Harvester. It was very nice too. And anyway, that's quite embarrassing. I shall move on quickly. I don't like my brick wall, I've decided. I don't like the stars. And all I've done, if I went a bit too quickly, I can actually delete my backdrops. And I'm just going to stick with a solid colour. So, before I belch again into your ears, I'd like you guys to just go and make yourself a backdrop. And one thing that I would like you to do is the following. I've made a few games at Scratch, and this one's called Untitled 6. I don't think that's a very sensible name. I'm going to call mine, I don't know, it's going to be so cool at the end, I'm going to call it Super Breakout. And I'm going to press enter to confirm it. And that will make sense to you when you log in and log out. You'll find it easier to find which is the game that you're using. So that's it from me, a little bit of introduction, and we'll do some proper programming in the next videos. But for the moment, just go and choose a stage color and then come back to the next video.